SEO isn't about chasing traffic anymore. It's about alignment between design, content, UX, and the people you're actually trying to reach.
We kind of have this thing where SEO is everyone's responsibility. And we've preached that. But we work with tons of different external marketing teams, and you can see the silos.
We're hoping for a lot more integration, a lot of more automations that will make our processes a lot easier in the future.
Welcome to the DesignRush Podcast. I'm your host, Kia Jensen. Today I'm joined by Jensen, co-founder and creative principal at Bob Design, and Andrea, Soldat, SEO Specialist at DesignRush, two people who work at the intersection of SEO, design, content, and strategy every single day. This isn't a conversation about quick wins. It's about foundations, collaborations, and what performance really means now. We talk about lead quality over traffic, why SEO works best when everyone owns it, and how GEO and AI search are changing discovery without replacing the fundamentals. If you're leading teams in marketing or SEO, this one will resonate. Make sure you're subscribed, and let's get into today's episode. SEO right now, it's changing, under everyone's feet. And depending on who you talk to, it's either evolving, it's breaking, or it's actually being rewritten. So there's a lot of uncertainty in search right now. What is your biggest fear or strategic concern about where SEO is heading in the year ahead?
It's a great question. I think we've already seen some of the fears that have come to fruition, how AI is impacting SEO. And, just really being adaptable and staying on top of trends and how everything's evolving. I think my biggest fear is just making sure my team has the bandwidth to stay on top of the trends and making sure we're looking to the right, thought leaders or resources or tools even SEMrush to help inform the decisions we're making on behalf of our clients.
Well, I know there's a lot of fear everywhere around the SEO community these days regarding AI and where SEO is going in the future. But I feel like at DesignRush, we're really trying to stay positive and not fearmonger about all these changes and just go with the flow and adapt to the changes as they come. And I really think as long as you're focused on the right things, that you will actually be able to get through all these changes. And it's not the first time that things are changing for the SEO world, and I think everything is going to be okay. It's just that the vision for 2026 is going to be a little bit different, where we're going to have to weigh SEO, traditional SEO, and GEO and stuff like that. So we're trying to keep a positive mindset.
Kara, for yourself, clients still ask for more traffic, but in this age of zero-click and AI answers, how do you reshape that goal?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. For a long time, actually, at Bob Design, we've really tried to educate our clients that it's not just about traffic, but it's about lead quality. Our clients are all B2B. They're in niche industries, so things like lead quality, keyword positioning, and traffic are all different things that we, really try and focus on. So it's not just a singular focus on how much traffic is coming, but really ultimately traffic and keyword positions would be a leading indicator to keyword lead quality. So, it's a lot of, education. And our clients really, embrace that. So, even it's a really good, it's a perfect example. Earlier this year, we launched a new website for a specialty paper manufacturer, and their traffic actually dropped because they had a completely, wrong, not completely wrong, but really a keyword strategy that wasn't going after paper converters. So it was interesting. It was really the keyword strategy was more targeted to end users. So while it was relevant, it's not bringing in the right keyword traffic, the right, relevant traffic. So when we launched the site this year, we kind of do full, design, copy, keyword strategy, and their traffic dropped somewhat significantly, but the lead quality increased tremendously. So it's like a perfect example of, if you don't have the right foundation, traffic doesn't really matter. On the other side of it, we're also seeing obviously like organic drop across, a lot of our clients, not significantly, but that as equal to like the traffic dropping from like, let's say Google organic, we're seeing, traffic coming in from like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity to make up for that. So that's a great indicator that, all right, what we did foundationally from an SEO standpoint is translating to GEO.
Andrea, from your side, you work on SEO inside a platform that connects brands with agencies. So what would you say is the disconnect that you keep seeing between performance expectations and then what's actually happening?
Yeah, like we all know, traffic has dropped a lot for a lot of websites, and while the impressions increased, so it's been really tough trying to regain our pre-AI overviews traffic, and we've had to sort of adapt to the new landscape. So the data that we're seeing at DesignRush is really telling us kind of a different picture than what we're being fed, is that most people are using conversational queries and stuff like that. But we've actually noticed that our B2B clients actually still Google terms like best SEO agency quite often. So even though the trends are indicating that people will be using the conversational approach and talking with AI, while that's definitely true in some regard, I believe that it's still not the primary way people search, especially for some B2B terms that are related, for example, to our niche.
Adobe's acquisition of SEMrush has obviously made waves across SEO and creative circles. From your perspective, do you feel this is the beginning of smarter integration or the start of tool bloat?
I'm hopeful that it's smarter integration, and that, I think SEMrush is such an amazing tool. It's really user-friendly. Their support teams and like client success managers are really helpful. And I think they've done a great job evolving the tool and taking user feedback. I'd love to see Adobe's like tools, maybe Adobe take like a nod from that. Obviously, I think Adobe's, they have so many products, and and we use obviously a handful of them. And while their ecosystem kind of seems bloated, they still have kind of best in class design software. So I'm hoping that there is some smart integrations. When you thinking about that question, Adobe XD is a tool we've been using for years. We also design in Figma, but would be really cool to see like having some of that intelligence and that SEO knowledge integrated somehow into like Adobe XD. So when you're designing a website, that maybe it's a switch you can pull on, and it's like, hey, can you give me some SEO recommendations? Like, am I making any mistakes? So the SEO is really any like recommendations would be for like meeting where the designer where there is. And I think that would be cool. The alternative too was, maybe SEMrush with the help of Adobe can, build in some maybe additional tools into their software where you can have them, obviously there's like the live site audit, but like what do you do about like something pre-production? So maybe if you're writing a piece of copy for like a landing page or designing a landing page, it'd be cool if there's some type of tool that you can run through, like you can upload the design or the copy through SEMrush, and it would automatically give you like the same type of audit that you get on a live site.
Andrea, for yourself, you live in the platform every day. Would you say that the SEO tools are actually making your work easier, or just that much more louder?
I believe they are still making our lives easier quite a lot, especially for many research, analytical, technical tasks. So I do believe that we are still relying on them quite a lot. And as Kara said, we're hoping for a lot more integration and a lot of more automations that will make our processes a lot easier in the future.
In terms of Adobe itself, I mean, do you think that this could make the SEO tools more accessible as it is right now to brand and design teams? Or do you think this is perhaps going to even lead to a point of confusion for those teams?
I'm hoping it would make things more accessible. I think right now, when you look at, SEO, Andrea talked about like the technical part of SEO, and then, there's the UI, UX decisions you make and the copy you write and all this stuff. And while all the different people involved in designing a website, like at Bop Design, we kind of have this thing where SEO is everyone's responsibility. And we've preached that. But we work with tons of different external marketing teams, and you can see the silos. And I think some organizations SEO tends to still be siloed, and the onus is on the SEO to make sure everything's getting done properly. And that's kind of a really big task because hey, you can come up with the SEO strategy, but you're not a design expert, you're not a coder, you're not a writer. How do you follow best practices? So I'm thinking, if Adobe can weave some of the stuff into the workflows, it would actually make things more accessible and would align, teams in terms of what's best practice.
The way that you've explained it to me in terms of the integration is that you're actually looking at a merge of both to make it that much more accessible and obviously have a smoother flow there. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal. Or if the SEO tools ended up having some type of, pre-launch analysis on design and copy, which would be awesome. I think right now it's so technical and that's great. It's super important, but then there's a slight missing component to it.
So Adobe's acquisition of SEMrush, I mean, it surprised both SEOs and creatives. Adobe says it's about brand visibility in the age of generative AI and combining SEO with what they're now calling GEO, which is your generative engine optimization. So Kara, from a creative-led agency perspective, does this feel to you like progress, or do you feel like it's complexity that's busy creeping in?
No, I definitely feel like it's progress. It's not something we can ignore. And I think it's the way, I think over time, traditional search engines like Google are really going to take a hit because, even since AI is launched, it's changed the way I search for everything. My number one, go-to now is let me check it out on ChatGPT because it's quicker and it's compiling more information. So I think I think it's something we have to pay attention to, and I think it's for the better. I think these tools all the AI GEO engines are definitely improving user experience, and that's what we should be worried about. Obviously, it's challenging from a marketing standpoint to stay on top of how things work, but I think it's progress, and I think it's the natural state of progress. Yeah.
A new Axio survey found that nearly 70% of Americans are now using AI tools, but most don't trust them. And the concerns include things like, misinformation. I mean, job displacement, it's constantly being hashed out, everywhere. I think in our coffee conversations, in the news, it's literally everywhere. And even losing the human touch in daily tasks. I mean, these are the kinds of things that we also discussed on our many of our podcasts, prior to this one. So, Kara, from your perspective, I mean, would you say that SEO is actually being oversold as AI ready, or are brands still not ready to buy in?
I don't think it's oversold. I think while there's still a distrust in maybe some of the results, I think people are still using AI, AI engines to do like an initial round of research. So if you were to like, let's say I'm looking for the best like accounting firm in my area, you may go to AI first, and then you'll see like a list of results, and then you probably go check it on Google and see what type of results you get there. So I think that's how a lot of people are using AI on a daily. So they're using it as a, jumping off point, but then they're like verifying the information, or that's like the way I would want people to use it, to trust it immediately. So the cool thing is like for, your clients, if you're following a lot of like the best practices from like an SEO foundation, maybe you rank for that term I was talking, like best accounting firms in Orange County. You show up in Google like really high, maybe like first few positions, and then, or in the AI overview. And then a lot of times that'll translate to like ChatGPT or Perplexity if you put that same information in there. So yeah, I think, I don't think it's being oversold. I think it's something that it's equally as important. And then, the best practices for GEO, I think, they're evolving at a very rapid pace. So I think while there's a lot of like overlay, crossover between the two in terms of best practices, there is like an additional layer with GEO. So I think it's something that brands need to pay attention to regardless, because again, it comes down to like brand visibility, and no matter what tool you're using, whatever search engine, whatever, AI engine, you want to make sure that you're being found.
Andrea, if users don't trust AI results, do you think that brands should even be optimizing for them?
I believe that we should be optimizing for the user as the first, because optimizing for any platform will potentially not give you the results that you want. And our job as SEOs, and also the main focus of Google, is to provide the users with the right content for their query. So I do believe that there's still space in the SEO world for informational content. And as long as we focus on being unique and helpful to the user, that in the end, it's going to result in rankings on Google as well as LLMs.
Kara, the last question I'd like to pose to you. Do you think user distrust in AI search could actually make traditional SEO more valuable again? Do you think there could be a moment in time where the switch around happens?
I don't know if I could see that. I think at this point in time, and probably in the near future, they're going to be equally as important. But if you look at how even, let's say, the evolution of using AI for like image creation, a couple of years ago, I could create an image, which is terrible. You wouldn't use it. But now it's like you have huge companies like iStock and Getty and Shutterstock adopting it. It's at the same quality now as you would see, like professional photography. Obviously, it has a different, not to go down that rabbit hole, but to see that evolution and how, that has gotten so much better so quickly. I think we're going to see that again with the LLMs, and that, there's going to be a level of distrust for a little bit, but I think over time it may, it may be more trusted than Google at some point, because the thing is with Google, it's like, I feel like they're like trying to like sometimes trick users. So even in like, the paid ads, in the results, and I think this is some of the things that people get like frustrated with, that little ad label where you used to be like, okay, I know the first few results are like paid. That little label is getting smaller and smaller. So it's like, really easy to like trick somebody into like, being like, okay, is this real or is this not? And I think Google is more than anything has created distrust around users. Like I think they're, it's like they're like the big, I talk about like a monopoly over search. I think, and at least the sentiment at Bop Design is there's more distrust with Google than with any of these AI engines.
I do believe from my perspective that there's going to be so many more new things that's going to be coming our way, hopefully to make our lives a little easier, because things do get quite rushed and do get quite intense from time to time. I'd like to thank you both. This has actually been a really great conversation. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your insights. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kia.
Curious about what top brands look for when choosing an agency? Tune into our latest episodes where we reveal the decision-making secrets of leading brands. Subscribe to the DesignRush Podcast and stay ahead of the competition.